very important discussion because as you have seen those last days with the confinement, some of you were obliged to work remotely. Work remotely, you need that kind of stuff like Zoom or those live stuff, YouTube or Facebook if you are on Facebook. And this is possible only because those three people you are in front of you on your laptop or on your screen are doing an incredible work. So I will let them first introduce themselves. My name is Amin Yusuf. I'm the co-founder of Afrobytes. We are based in Paris, and our focus is how to accelerate our continent with innovation, along with the startup, with the investors, with the corporates. So let's start with you, Fleur. Maybe you can introduce yourself and introduce your organization.
Thank you very much, Amin, and a very good Africa Day to everybody. This is a very significant day for Africa, and it's important that we celebrate it, even in the circumstances that we know today. So my name is Fleur Chibota. I am the Director of Communications of Africa 50. I've been with Africa 50 for 2 years now. I've worked in the communication sector, in the banking sector, and even in FMCG. But I'm very proud to work with Africa 50, and I'm very proud of what we do. We are an infrastructure investment platform, Pan-African. We were set up by African governments and as well by the African Development Bank. Currently, we have 28 African countries that are part of our shareholders, as well as 2 central banks in Africa and the African Development Bank. What we do is that we develop and we invest in infrastructure in Africa. And our priority sectors are energy, transport, ICT, and midstream gas. We have 2 separate entities, one that focuses on early stage projects and help them become bankable and ready for investment. That's our project development arm. And we also have a project finance arm that looks at later stage projects for investment. So we invest on a commercial basis, but we have a dual mandate. So we look at projects that can bring returns for the investors, but we also look at projects that have a big development impact for the country where we invest. And this is very important to have this dual mandate. At present, we have 12 active projects in Africa, really across several sectors. We invested a lot in the power generation, as well in ICT sector. We have a number of projects in the gas industry and also in the transport industry. But my colleague Eti as well, who is part of the investment team, can tell you a bit more about this later on.
Okay, thank you very much for this presentation. I will now go exactly to the second presentation introduction. So Ederson, is it right to pronounce this way?
That is the right pronunciation. Thank you so much, Amin, and thank you to everyone watching, and a happy Africa Day. As Fleur mentioned, it's definitely an important one for the continent, particularly in this time. As Fleur mentioned, I sit within Africa 50's investment team. And again, as Fleur mentioned, we have 2 separate investment teams. One that is dedicated towards earlier stage development of projects, and another where I sit that is dedicated towards later stage investment in projects that are a bit further on in their life cycles. We focus on several core sectors, the first being, energy, and that's really where we help the continent get the right type of power generation that it needs to fuel growth, to fuel economies, and to make sure people are living productive, healthy, and happy lives. We also focus on the ICT sector. That spans very many different industry verticals. We do investments across connectivity, across data centers and co-location, across fiber, and really anything that involves connecting end users to core networks and making sure they have the right access to data and into the internet. We also have a focus on midstream gas, which is the fuel that we believe is going to allow the continent to develop rather rapidly. And that is, investment in storage, in transportation, as well as in processing and gasification of natural gas. And lastly, we focus on transportation. That involves getting people or freight or goods from point A to point B. So it could be rail, it could be ports, it could be airports. It's really all of the above. And across that entire spectrum, we really seek to pursue that dual mandate that Fleur mentioned. We want to have commercial returns, but we also want to have great developmental impact.
Thank you for this presentation sessions. Thank you for this great work also that you are doing at Africa 50. I invite everyone to visit your website, africa50.com. So you will see what great work we can do in Africa when we are together, because it's really about having all the African Union partners working together to set up our investment arm to develop the continent. So now I want to have the presentation, the introduction of Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude, we know each other for quite a long time now, because you are a true supporter of the African tech. We've worked together for the last 3 or 4 years. So you are always on the side of innovators, and thank you for your commitment. And can you introduce yourself and introduce a little bit more to people what you are doing and how you help them to have a better life?
So thank you, Amin. Happy Africa Day to the followers that are watching today. It's an honor to be invited and to speak here. So my name is Jean-Claude TSHIPAMA. I'm the CEO of Broadband in Africa at Eutelsat. So Eutelsat is one of the largest, the third largest operator, satellite operator in the world. We identified a few years back the need of connectivity or high-speed internet into our continent. So we put in place an initiative called Konnect Africa, which became later on a sub-brand of Eutelsat. So, and we operate in countries as Konnect Africa. So what we do is we commit ourselves to provide the best quality of service on a satellite connect that will come on board in in 3 months actually, technically. And then, but in the meantime, we managed to have a temporary capacity available on other satellites to prepare the ecosystem of the continent on what we are preparing to do. So basically, we try to provide a internet service into large cities as a complementary service to the terrestrial network. But as you know, Africa has 60%, more than 60% of its population lives beyond big cities. So that's how we come on board as the main provider of internet that will have an impact on social and also on economical development. So we will get more on what we are doing. We are present currently in 19 countries. So we service enterprises, we service the government, we service the community, we service the villages, we service the individuals. So we are there to make sure that people of Africa can get connected and finally have access to high-speed internet from the 45 countries that we'll be covering from November.
Thank you for this presentation. I will get back to Fleur. Fleur, we've been working with you for quite a long time now. We started last year. Unfortunately, with the COVID crisis, we had to change a little bit some schedules. That's normal. But when I met you the first time, you told me, okay, at Africa 50, we have a focus. We will have a focus this year. It's going to be connectivity. So maybe you can explain to our audience why Africa 50 has this focus on connectivity and why it is so important for you, for your mission.
Okay. So my colleague already mentioned that ICT is one of the sectors in which we invest, and we believe that there are tremendous opportunities to invest in that. It is a growing market. It is actually Africa is actually the fastest growing market when it comes to the mobile sector and more broadly to the telecommunication sector. But yet you have about 75% of Africans that still do not have access to high-speed internet. Yet, when you look at the demographics of Africa, it's a very young population. So it means that it provides tremendous opportunities for growth in that field. And also, when you look at the impact, a recent study from the World Bank has shown that a 10% increase in internet penetration can lift GDP as much as by 1 up to 4%. So we can see that there's a tremendous multiplier effect there. As a result of this, innovative last-mile internet connectivity solutions have the potential to create significant commercial value across the continent and as well leave a lasting social impact. So we are willing to work with on exciting opportunities to engage with the most creative minds on the continent, but even at a global level, to solve this African challenge. How can we get Africans connected? And how can we do it in a way that is, commercially viable, but yet as well with impact? So we work with the private sector, we work with countries, and we look at large-scale projects when it comes to fiber optic type of connectivity projects, but we believe there's as well a lot of opportunities in smaller scale projects, working even with the startup community and working on partnerships with a number of players in that field, so that when you bring the connectivity in, say, a rural area, you also have an array of different services or mobile applications that can be tailored to the African consumer. And this is where we believe there's a big opportunity to work with startups. So this is how we look at it. It's complementary to our mandate. It fits well with our mandate, and we believe it's a great investment opportunity as well.
Thank you. Specifically about the challenge, because I know you have received tons of applications in a few months from Africa, but also from all across the world. Are you satisfied by the quality of the projects you have received first? Is it encouraging to see all those people thinking about how to connect people? What is your perspective? What is your conclusion about after this 1-year campaign of receiving applications, looking at them, etc., etc.?
So first of all, what I can say is that we have an ecosystem that we built around our Innovation Challenge. The goal of the Innovation Challenge, and it was the first edition, is that we want to help solve an African challenge through an African solution, so to speak, and through a collaborative approach. And we believe, it's part as well of our mandate to help come up with concrete solutions for Africa's most pressing challenges. So the ecosystem that we built is that, first of all, we have an advisory board that has a number of key players in that field, including the AU, UNECA, the ITU, the Telecoms institution, as well as the African Development Bank, and even Smart Africa, which is one of the key players. So they are part of the advisory board of the Innovation Challenge, and they're helping us, giving us guidance to make sure that we achieve the right impact and the right results. We also have the government of Rwanda, so the Ministry of ICT of Rwanda, because the idea behind this Innovation Challenge is that we are sourcing solutions, but in the end, the goal is to invest in one of the solutions. And for that, we needed a pilot country. And we decided to have Rwanda as a pilot country because we have already a project that we're doing there, the Kigali Innovation City, which is, is going to be a key player in the ICT and the innovation sector in Rwanda. So we felt there were good synergies with that. And also there is a conducive environment, regulatory environment in Rwanda for such projects. In addition to that, so once we had the advisory board set to support us in this initiative, we launched the challenge, and we basically launched a call for solutions. And we received 673 solutions. It actually exceeded the goal that we had set. Most of them were from Africa, about 80% of them, and really across the continent. We had a lot of them from Rwanda, but as well from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Northern Africa, for so many countries that actually, responded to that call. But we also had solutions coming from the Silicon Valley, from Europe as well. So it was great to see as well that we managed to get solutions from large tech companies as well as startups. So we were very happy with the solutions we received, and it shows as well the creativity that you have on the continent, and that there are already a lot of players trying to solve this problem.
Thank you. That's very encouraging for the future. And you talked about the investment part. I will go to Jean-Claude after, but I have just a quick question, because this is something that everybody now is discussing because of the COVID crisis, and it's all over the world. The startup ecosystem, innovators. That are, some were looking for funds, some were waiting for funds, some were in the process of getting the investment, and then boom, here comes the COVID crisis. So I wanted to ask you, Eti, how this crisis has affected your activity. Do you postpone your activity? What is the impact?
Sure, I think that's a very good question, and one that we've thought about quite a bit at Africa 50, and I'm sure a lot of our partners have as well. Africa 50 has remained completely operational during the COVID-19 pandemic, and to some extent has actually started to ramp up in terms of how we look at the landscape and how we partner with companies and how we become value-added partners to the governments we work with and the countries we work in. So from a day-to-day perspective, we've all, adopted a remote working policy that ensures business continuity, but also allows us to remain intact with the different parts of the business that are not within our backyard. So checking in with partner companies remotely, making sure we increase the frequency of communications with them, and making sure that we fully understand their needs, wants, and urgent pressing issues as this pandemic starts to play out. In terms of the actual business model, while we aren't able to travel to actually due diligence and underwrite investments and look at investments from a local perspective, we have been able to continue the work that we do in terms of making sure that our investments are performing, making sure that any potential issues that they face are faced with thought leadership from our perspective, and helping them come to the best solutions that they possibly can. We're also implementing a series of initiatives to help African countries curb the impact of COVID-19. So whether it's through providing grants and donations, or actually looking to potential sectors where those countries may need to step up investment and seek more capital, we've been doing all of that and then some. For instance, from our business perspective, areas such as healthcare infrastructure, sanitation, and water have not necessarily been core to our thesis. But as we've seen opportunities to help governments and to help step into where there is an actual need, they've started to become part of the opportunity set that we're looking at potentially investing in and looking at potentially contributing to projects. And so, between the regular operations we do, and as I said, those new areas that have started to develop as need areas for countries, we've been able to operate, it's business as usual, and then a little bit more on top to really respond to this pandemic in a quick and efficient way.
Thank you very much. That's a very good news to see that you are still operating and you are still very active, because now we are certainly in a phase where we have to think about the economic recovery. This is not just a recession. It might be a little bit more. We can come out stronger of this crisis. So we are very happy that you are doing this job. And we are also very happy to have companies like Konnect still active. I know that for you, Jean-Claude, you have Africa in your heart for a long time, forever maybe. And even when people told you, oh, maybe Africa, it's not this, it's not that, you were still investing, trying to push the limits, committed to really make a difference on the continent. So can you tell us a little bit more about where do you operate first in Africa? Because you said you are doubling your capacities. You said something about the impact when you connect people. Maybe you can develop a little bit more this thing. When you arrive in a country where you're not operating, how do you see the change for people? Fleur gave some numbers about the GDP, but which are the numbers? But do you have some things that people can figure out? Because sometimes numbers it can be abstract for people. But what are the concrete examples that you have seen on the field those last years?
Thank you. So we, as Konnect Africa, as I said, we moved from being Eutelsat, which is a satellite operator. We go into a country, then we become an ISP. So we provide internet service to people, to the local community. How do we do that? We invest, first of all, we invest in capacity, satellite capacity. As I said, in January, we launched a satellite Connect. It is a 75 GD capacity. It means that it will help us to cover 45 countries in Africa. So that will allow us to go to Nigeria, to go to DRC, to Rwanda, to South Africa, to Ethiopia, to Somalia, to Cote d'Ivoire and elsewhere, to provide with our local entity. We set up a local entity in a country so that we're closer to our community, we're close to our potential customers, we're close to the government, we create jobs in the country. So like in DRC, we set up Konnect Africa DRC, so which is in charge of selling packages. We defined packages according to our market research and the need of the population. So we go to the government, we go to enterprises, we go to individuals. My mother-in-law, so for instance, she is now a Konnect Africa client. She uses internet from home, she makes videos, she calls grandchildren around the world. So her life has changed and she's not going around anymore. So this is an example. We went to Mbujimai on the river. We were able to connect for the first time a little mining company that dig diamond artisanally. So we were able for them, there were no GSM coverage, there was nothing. So for the first time, 600 people that were working around the project have never been connected since Konnect Africa came on board. So this is a type of things. We connect the clinics in South Africa, in Mpumalanga. We connect for the government. We help the government to fight against the COVID-19. So the region doesn't have any fiber or any other terrestrial network that works perfectly. So, but they needed internet for them to be able to communicate with the head office, which is in Johannesburg. So we go on the ground, we invest the money into the satellite, 300 million US dollar. That's the investment that we are putting in place. It's already in place because the satellite will go live in a few months and few weeks from now. So that allows us to go to sit with the community and give them a proper network that will impact their productivity. So that brings the price down, you know, as we are acting as an ISP on the ground. So we cut the middlemen in between the satellite operator and the customer that need the internet. So we cut the price down. We bring a service, a best quality of service, no matter where you are. This is one of the key benefit of the satellite connectivity. So you are in Lagos, you have a very good quality of service. You are in Sokoto, in the north, you still have the same quality of service as it is in Lagos. So it allows the population to feel that a service can be, for the terrestrial, all of them are concentrated into many cities, as we know. And the funds are not as many as we could expect that they will connect fiber or 3G, 4G everywhere the African population is living. So we are changing life of people when we connect schools, we connect clinics, health clinics, we connect local government entities, we connect agri-business. Like in Kenya, we connected the office for election. So everywhere in the country, they could get the information right on time, according to what we could provide to them. So this is what concretely that we are providing to the people. And then we have people that are living in the bush, like in Lufu, or in the very east of the DRC, for instance, where we have Konnect Wi-Fi. So it's a shared connectivity where we install somewhere in the village. We put the equipment for free. Because we truly believe that people cannot afford to buy equipment. So we put the Wi-Fi on the ground, and then people in the mornings, the 40, 60, 100 people come in the morning, that the first bench get connected, receive emails, talk to people. In that particular village, they call us WhatsApp company, because since we established in the village, so the WhatsApp it can go through now. So they believe that we are working for WhatsApp. And then you will have people during the day and after the village activities, they will come. In that particular village, we were able, during a month, to connect 600 people so that people can transfer money, they can receive money, they can communicate, they can exchange price, because they do some agri-business over there, so they can get in touch with their traders out of the city. So it has a huge impact of what we could see. We enable the local community to become a reseller as well. So we have a large program of resellers. The main criteria, you need to be a local, you need to be from the place. We're not moving people around, so we want to enable that economical power to the community. So that creates jobs, we train installer. We have 10,000 installer program training that we are running across Africa. So it has a huge impact on the community.
Oh, thank you very much. That's fantastic. We are running a little bit hard of time because we have to go to the music part after. I know that they will wait for us. But before leaving, I will ask you a very quick question because it's very important, those questions. If you can make it short, and after we will probably listen to some music after. I know that Yusundur and others are preparing great stuff for all of us. Eti, I just want to ask you a question. Thank you, Jean-Claude. Eti, we see there is this crisis. It's certainly very sad for a lot of people because a lot of people died. Okay, so it's definitely something really difficult for so many people on earth. It has also changed our lives. For example, this maybe wouldn't have happened without this context. So what do you see for Africa? Do you see this as an opportunity? Do you see this as an accelerator of investment to the digital transformation of our continent? Do you see the government's understanding now? Oh, okay, so that's the New Deal. The New Deal is remote. So the New Deal is definitely have connectivity because it's very important. How do you see this crisis? I will ask you a quick response. The balance between difficulties and opportunities.
Thank you so much, Amin. I think the old adage is true that where there is typically a great challenge is also a great opportunity. So I think this is equally a challenge and an opportunity. I think we will continue to develop projects and invest in projects that create and stimulate economies, that create jobs, and allow governments to respond to the needs of their people and provide opportunities for everyone in the infrastructure value chain. I do believe that this opportunity from the pandemic will allow the sectors of healthcare and digital infrastructure to potentially attract more investment as we see how fundamentally mission critical these sectors are. I also believe that the African continent has a history of responding collectively to these types of challenges, whether it was for Ebola as the African Union and CDC came together in that instance, or whether it will be for some new way for us to create solutions. I do have hope that the continent and the best minds and everyone who's involved in the ecosystems across the continent will come together, figure out the ways to support governments to make sure people have access to economic growth and live safe, healthy, and potentially constructive lives.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your great response. Fleur, we are talking about moving forward, okay, about this question of connectivity. So what are the next steps for you with the challenge? What do you prepare for the coming weeks or months? What can you tell to our audience?
Great. I just wanted to add something. I think we, as Africans, we need to be very proud as well of and inspired by all the proactive, the proactive way in which governments, private sector, institutions, and the civil society have responded to COVID-19. We've some tremendous innovations as well in the last few days. Africans coming up with solutions, you know, even producing masks or, you know, tests, etc. So I think, you know, that there were great displays of solidarity and as well of creative thinking, which illustrates that our continent has the ability to cooperate and innovate to surmount this challenge. And this is what we want to do as well with our innovation challenge, putting the right players together and help solve the problem. We mentioned that the pilot we want to invest in would be in Rwanda, but the idea is to then scale it to other African countries. And like I mentioned earlier, we have 28 governments that are part of our shareholding, so potentially scaling the solutions in all these countries. We've been seeing some tremendous, some really nice solutions. You know, Jean-Claude mentioned the impact that it has on the populations. I mean, you know, we've been seeing even educational applications, applications that enable people in the villages to sell their produce and as well get goods delivered to them. So, you know, we've seen a lot of solutions that can really help the rural areas be connected. And now that they're in this COVID-19 context, being connected is key. Otherwise, we have, you know, a big chunk of the population that can be completely excluded from the new economy, and we want to avoid that. So when it comes to the innovation challenge, the next step is that we have shortlisted some solutions that we're looking into more thoroughly, and we will be announcing during the month of June the finalists. So I will ask everyone here to stay tuned to follow Africa 50 Innovation Challenge account on social media. We will be soon announcing an event, a webinar, where we will announce the finalists, and we will as well have a panel to discuss some of the exciting things that are happening in the continent in the digital space.
Thank you. Yes, let's continue this.
And then after that,
yeah, please.
Yeah.
Please.
And then after that, of course, after announcing the finalists, we will announce later during the year in November the actual winner or winners of the Innovation Challenge and the projects we will be projects we will be investing in.
Fantastic. That's a good news. I think that all day we had this discussion just before. We had some startups, some from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria, from Benin, and from that conversation we could see people saying like, "Hey, I will call you back after. We will work together." So that's fantastic. I hope that during all day with this hashtag I am one or hashtag je suis one, si vous parlez français. Ok, on parle tous français en fait, mais on veut s'ouvrir à nos amis anglophones. C'est pour ça qu'on est en anglais. Ne nous en veuillez pas les francophones. It's just that because we just want to be all together. English-speaking and French-speaking countries, we have to come together to solve our challenges. I will. So let's continue this conversation. I will because you talk about education. At the end of the day, education is a key for us, for all of us. And Jean-Claude, maybe we will finish with you with this example, because I know that you have operated a certain number of projects that are directly connected to education. Can you tell us a little bit more and what role you had in this specific area?
Yes, very quickly, we had an opportunity, you know, in DRC, there is a new president that called for people to bring ideas into the digital space. So we sit together with School Up. School Up is a startup. It's a local startup that develop application for education, for schools, for teachers. Basically, they digitalize the content. They try to bring some good videos from the national program. They digitalize everything, the books, the exercise book, etc. So they put things together in a platform called School Up. So we partner with School Up in order to approach the schools. So we signed an agreement a couple of months ago so that we will be sponsor the content production. That's number one. Number two is we giving a number of tablets to schools for the teachers to have access to schoolup.com. And lastly, we provide a free kit, so a dish, a satellite dish with a modem for free. For each school, the first phase of the project is at 3,600 schools that we are actually implementing currently. And the second phase, we will do 70,000 schools. So basically, by the end of the project, we will be able to say that in DRC, 100% of schools are connected, get access to the quality, good quality of content, education content. So this program is made possible with our local partner called Flash CFC, and then the support of the president of the DRC. So really want to thank Jonathan for the project, and also our Excellency Dominique Migisha, that allows us to make it happen. And we are in a process of duplicating what we've seen in DRC. We are in talks with some officials that I cannot mention at this stage, but several countries are really interested because education is one of the top priority, and bringing the digital and high-tech platform in the ecosystem, then it make it exciting for the schools, for the startup, because it's a huge support to a startup, a local startup, and also supporting the government into that space. So I think the challenge of the COVID-19 will accelerate. People notice that we need internet connection. No matter where you are living, no matter the school is located, and many in the rural area, we want all those schools to be connected as they are being connecting now with our Konnect Africa program. So that's what we are doing, and we aim to do it in Tanzania, to do it everywhere else.
Thank you very much. I think that's the message of this day, our Africa Day, not just as African, but everywhere in the world. I think that the development of Africa is important for sure for Africans, but it's important for everyone on earth, because the progress that we are doing in education, the progress that we are globally doing, creating sustainable economies are very important. I will do some promotional comments now. So first, stay tuned with africa50.com. You will go on the website, you will see the different buttons on Twitter, on Facebook, just follow them. Same thing, Konnect Africa, but connect with a K. Be careful, yeah. K-O-N-A-E-C-T, africa.com. You can follow what we do at Afrobytes. You go on afrobytes.com. You cannot imagine that this year our annual event the title was Impossible Until It's Done. So yes, it's going to be impossible until it's done. So it's coming soon. I want also to give congratulations to School App for this partnership with Konnect Africa. It's very important that we have those partnerships between startups, corporate, and investors and institutions like Africa 50. I want also to congratulate again the 20+1 startup of this Africa Day that we have selected from Egypt to Mali to Zimbabwe. You guys are doing a great work. So keep on pushing. Keep on pushing everyone who is looking at us. It's hard times, but I believe that with all the work that we are all doing, starting with this connectivity industry, we will probably go stronger out of this crisis. So thank you very much, all of you. I wish you a happy Africa Day, and as we say during all this day, together is one, together as one, together is one. Thank you.
Happy Africa Day.
Happy Africa Day.
Happy Africa Day.
Thank you.